Hello again. So today's Agile Nudge is all about user stories, and in particular, physical user story cards. Now you may start seeing these around the office, and if you've been at any of the banks as I've worked at in the past, you'll see a similar thing there as well. It's something that I find really important, and I know here quite a few people use virtual boards instead of physical boards. When Ron Jeffries first thought of the user story back in 1999 with the XP, he talked about the 3 C's. The conversation, the card, and the conditions. Actually, it's the card, the conversation, and the conditions. The most important thing is a physical card. Why is this important? Well, there was actually some research a few years ago with the English National Health Service, and people discovered that they were trying to make the place more efficient, and people were tending not to turn up to appointments. So instead of the receptionist giving you the appointment card, they would give you a blank card and get you to fill it in. And psychologically, when you write something down, something happens to make you physically and personally committed to that work. Also, we need to understand why we have the cards. It's for the conversation, it's a token, it's a promise of a future conversation. It doesn't have to be complete or chapter and verse. In fact, the more vague it is, the better, because it's going to stimulate more questions, more conversations. I've seen virtual cards. Here we use Jira. There are other tools that other organisations use, and they're very useful for auditing and tracking later on, and for capturing requirements earlier on as well, because having thousands of these would just not be sustainable. But my recommendation, and what I'm going to try and do with the Scrum Masters here, is before you go into a sprint, when you're refining the backlog, I'd like to encourage you to use these physical cards. You may want to laminate them and use a Sharpie, which you can then clean off later, much better for the environment. So we have the standard format of a user story. In Scrum, you don't have to use a user story, but it's the most common practice. We have the title. So rather than having a code that no one knows, the FB234, what does that mean? You say, Tommy in Toronto, payment expired, problem. So we know what we're talking about. It's, as a user, I want an outcome. So I want a feature, so that's outcome. It's supposed to be in plain English, in business language, that anybody can understand. Because if you're able to do it at this level, it will then align and have a shared understanding with the whole team. On the back of these cards, we have acceptance criteria. We only have 5. Now, obviously, in the online version of the tool, you will have all of the acceptance criteria. You may have given, when, then, or you may have spec by example. But here, we just want the high-level acceptance criteria, maybe the things we exclude, just so we have a shared understanding of what we're going to be estimating. So my recommendation is for every team, as part of your definition of ready, you have a physical card. Give it a go, give me some feedback. That was today's Agile Nudge. I'm going to try and do this daily. I hope you get value from it. Thank you.